Hey guys, this is OddOneGaming. This is going to be another Dragonheir SilentGods video. In today's video, I want to talk a little bit about the Temporal Vortex and basically what teams are kind of like the meta ones, what teams should you be running, and what what should you prioritize, and when should you prioritize the Temporal Vortex. Okay, so first of all, I want to try and talk about it from the perspective of like the earlier game, right? Let's say first week or two in the season, because this kind of changes a little bit, right? As you progress further through the game and through the season, the top teams will be changing because of the way that you can hit the level cap, the damage that you can do, and all of that. Okay, so normally in the Temporal Vortex, you want to try and rank as much as you can, right? Because if you look over here, if you go to rankings, just let myself to the other side. If you go to the rankings and if you click ranking rewards, you see that basically depending on how you rank, which you should try to get at least top 500, you're going to be getting yourself Echoes of Clepsydra. These are extremely important because these are going to be the ones that will decide how high you will be ranking every single season, right? And it might be tough to go, top 1, 2, 3, top 10 might be difficult, but depending on your server, you might be able to get top 20, 50, 150. At least you want to aim for the top 150. And you want to focus this as early as you possibly can, right? Even though I did make a video yesterday talking about like top 3 priorities that you should focus on farming, I kind of say like Goblin, then Domains, then, Grave of Curse or Grave of Venom. Well, actually, I think maybe the second priority after the Goblin should be Temporal Vortex. The reason why I'm saying that is, again, because of these Echoes of Clepsydra. The sooner you manage to gather these, the better. And I know you might be saying like, oh, but it's only 300, 350, 400. It's not that much. Trust me, this can mean a lot. I know that once we get into the Otherworld exploration, the more Echoes of Clepsydra we get, the better. But I want to tell you the experience that I had in Season 3 as an example, because I was not able to rank in 150, or I didn't try harder to rank in the top 150, I basically pretty much lost my ranking in the season where I could have been top 50, right? So I was like 51 or 52 ranking, right, instead of 50. And then in order to get top 50, like even top 40, I just needed like 500 or 600 of these, it's a lot. Like as a simple example, let's say you rank, instead of ranking top 50, which maybe you rank top 150, or you, instead of trying to get top 150, you rank 151, you're basically losing 70 Echoes of Clepsydra every single day, right? So if you just do some quick math, let's say 70 times 90, that's a season, that's 6,300 points that you'll be losing during a season, right? That's a lot. That's a lot. Even if we, let's say just half of that, right? Just 45. It's still 3,000 points. That could mean the difference between you ranking higher or lower. And the rewards are usually pretty good, especially when we're talking swapping rankings. So if you look, let me see, can I get the rankings over here? And then reward preview, right? Okay, so if you look over here, like I said, the goal is usually 150, but obviously if you can get 50, it's even better because you get the better scrolls. Obviously you're gonna get more healer lights, you're gonna get more war motto, and also access to like the bigger shop depending on where you finish. But the end goal, I guess, is to try and be top 50 as much as you can, because being a season-based game, you're always gonna want to try and compete. So I pretty much wanted to cover a little bit that before we jump into the Vortex. Now, if you go and have a look at the Temporal Vortex, at least in the first week, maybe even 2, I think, up until you hit level 35, the way that you build your team is depending on what you have the strongest in the sense of combinations, tiers, and all that. Once you get to the 3rd week, maybe like to the 3rd difficulty, once you hit level 25, leaving myself to the other side again, you might try and take advantage of this bonus. If you know you have a strong Radiant team and you can take advantage of this bonus, go ahead, because 30% more damage is going to be a lot. But once you swap to the 4th one, things start changing because the boss gains new skills, right? Once you get over here, he's gonna start getting defense penalty. Up until you get to that point, he doesn't have the defense penalty, so you're pretty much gonna use whatever you have. Now, let's talk some teams, right? So, first of all, I guess, let me just show you the team that I'm using early on and explain to you why I'm actually using this team, right? So, the team that I went with this season, because of the elemental pairings, that's something you should keep in mind as well. The team that I went with is going to be my Shadow team, and I just threw in there Cinerel. So You might be thinking like, well, that's not 5-man affinity. Yes, I know, and I'm not going to be doing that for now because we have not unlocked the 5-hero elemental affinity, right? The 5 synergy yet, so I can afford to do this. But maybe once we get further, maybe I'm going to drop Cinorel and I'm going to bring in somebody like an Aladia, right? So I chose to go with Necrosis and with Ice this season, and the reason why I chose to do this is because, well, I'm lucky enough to have Ozul, plus I also have his exclusive artifact. I'm just not using it yet, and honestly I noticed that this artifact, Poison Swamp, is actually better for Ozul than his exclusive up until you get to the right build for him. The reason for that is his exclusive artifact gives him more crit rate, but he also makes his basic attack do more damage, right? So he's all about the basic attack. However, if you don't attack fast enough, he's not gonna be, you know, it's not gonna be that much of a difference compared to this one, I think, from what I've seen. But I'm gonna be testing this a lot, you know, a little bit later, more to see how this one's gonna pan out once I'm gonna do some showcase. But again, first team, I just chose to go with Shadow. But let's talk about you that maybe cannot afford, you know, it's a little bit more difficult to try and get exclusive. So let's talk non-exclusives, okay? The next team that I've seen and that like I would have maybe built, but I didn't play last season, is gonna be the Ice Blast. Ice Blast team is arguably one of the best ones because it's not only good in the early game, it can carry up until the end game almost completely, because you know what, we're gonna get to the point where once you start hitting level 100, you're gonna see a lot of people that have, let me see, do I see any of him here? No. But basically, once you hit level 100, it's gonna be a Rook show, right? So keep this in mind. If you don't have Rook, it's gonna be hard for you to compete with the Rook teams. That's what I realized, and I don't think they're ever gonna change it. So once Rook comes back, if you have the dice saved up, like I suggested, that's how you should, that's what you aim for. But if you look at the teams, for example, okay, first one, lots of high, you know, awakening. I guess let's go a little bit lower. Dauntless obviously is the real powerful one, but let's go a little bit lower because the top 10 might be just, you know, Krakens going on, lots of empowerments, but exactly like I mentioned, Ice Blast, right? Even if you do not have Beldel, I noticed that the new one, Nadia, right, which you could get from Faye last season at level 60, or this season once you hit Faye under 60, you can get Nadia. She's a really powerful DPS. From what I've seen, people prefer her over Gerthen. So Ice Blast is going to be always a good choice because you have some decent supports alongside, right? You have Aladia that you can use. That was the free legendary from last season. If you get lucky, you can get a Styan, maybe even throw in somebody like a Megan that can cleanse your defense penalties. So going with Ice Blast with the combination of support of Necrosis could be a solid choice. Another good one's obviously if you have Shadow, again you see over here. Another good one is going to be, and one of the best ones that I've seen, it's going to be this one, Orfena, and also if you have Perkunte, right? The Thunderbolt team, these two together can do some insane numbers, and this season they're paired really well because Lightning is paired with Radiance, right? You do have Ardreth, you'd have some people like Catherine that can bring your self-debuff immunity, so that's another amazing option. Let's see what else do we have. Okay, Rose again. Rose is really powerful because she does attack penalty, she can remove debuffs, so Rose is another good one. Let's see what if you go on. Okay, another one. I'm just trying to see like some other options if I can find another one. I noticed that one of the ones that used to be like at the top used to be the wild team, right? If you had a Flora, you could build that wild team and you can just push it really further. But wild team, unfortunately, kind of fell down a little bit the ranks because of the power of the other ones. Like I said, with the Ice Blast, with the Perkunte and Orfena one. But again, look at this. We already have a Rook one, so this guy's gonna be the MVP once it comes to endgame. But up until you get there, just go with the other ones. I'm trying to see, okay, another Shadow. Lots of people you're gonna see doing Shadow, or again, the Perkunte with the Thunderbolt Orfena, because those are good also for the Goblin, right? Again, there we go. Here's the Ice Blast one. You see that there's a Nadia in there and there's a Gerthen with Sheena. Honestly, from the way that I've seen it, if you have Sheena plus Nadia and 3 supports, it should still work. So early on, don't really care about getting the 5-man synergy because it takes a while up until you can unlock the 5-man synergy over here, right? Let's go and see Elemental Affinity. So up until you get over here, it's gonna be a while, right? So just try and focus whichever's gonna be, you know, 2 good supports. And honestly, up until you maybe hit the 3rd difficulty, 3 DPS can usually out damage 2 DPS and 2 supports. So yeah, that's I guess I'm just gonna wrap it up at this. I just want to, you know, show you and give you some good ideas. Always keep in mind though, you can look at the rankings, right? Keep in mind that you can always look at the rankings, see what other people build. There might be a team in there that you're seeing like, oh my god, I can build that. Always check their artifacts because they might have better artifacts. But overall, there might be some teams in here that you're seeing and you're like, oh my god, I can build this. And you can go ahead and kind of like copy it and then just focus on your Vortex team so you can progress and start collecting those echoes of Clipped Hydra, which are really important for the end of the season. But yeah, so if you kind of make a conclusion, the best teams are going to be Rook at the top always, then Ice Blast teams with Beldel, with Nadia, Shadow teams, then the Thunderbolt with Perkunte or Fena. I think those ones are dependent on having at least Orfena, right? For what I've seen, or maybe at least or having both. I've not played around with it much, so just saying it. But I think the easiest one for most people to build is going to be the Ice Blast one, because even if you don't have Sheena, honestly, I think you could go around with it, because you could use somebody like let's see, what's his name again? I keep forgetting their names. Bledden, right? He could be a good one that he can enable those ice crystals. But obviously, if you have Sheena, it's gonna be 10 times better. But anyway, we're gonna leave it at this for today, guys. Thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. And if you did, don't forget to like it, subscribe to the channel to see when I upload next, and I'm gonna see you on the next one. Peace, love, take care, everyone. Bye, guys.